Good. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I'm so sorry about the mix-up yesterday, by the way.
Hey, that's life. No worries, man. I'm glad to
Okay.
have you on the phone right now.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Sure. I mean, you got to be really excited with everything that's going on with your career right now.
I can't even tell you. Like I literally can't sleep at night. You know what I mean? That's how excited I am right now. So it's a good and a bad thing too, because I could use some sleep.
I hear you. Now, looking back, when did you first know you wanted to make music for a living?
I think I've always wanted to do music since I was a little kid, but I think as I matured and got older, I realized this is what I really wanted to do for my life. I think sometimes when we're kids, unless our parents are big into music, which my parents loved music, but they weren't musicians or anything like that. So it wasn't like they, were pushing me to it at a young age. It was more my love for it. And you don't realize at that age, hey, I want to do this for my life. You know what I mean? And for me, it was like a maturing process to realize, like, I was probably 19, 20 years old, and I was like, I know I have to do this. If I don't do this, I'm not going to be happy with where my life goes.
Exactly. And you don't want to be one of those guys either that, 20, 30 years from now you say, you know what? What if,
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly. And that was honestly my biggest thing was like, I didn't, it was like a light came on. I was like, I love this so much, and I don't want to wake up one day, like you said, and be like, why didn't I do this? So,
I mean, not only that, but you're in New York City, man. I mean, what a great place to get musical inspiration from.
oh, for sure. For sure. So many of the greats from here. And just the energy in the city,
Mm.
and all the talented people in the city, even the people that aren't household names, so to speak, but just people that are around and the energy and being in the industry in music and getting to kind of hang out with some of these people it inspired me too. So yeah, I mean New York was amazing, and I spent a little time in LA recording some stuff there too, which is cool. So I kind of got a little bit of both.
Well, I'm from LA, but then I moved to New York and was there for 14 years, and I've been in Miami for 21 years, so I know exactly where you're coming from, man.
Wow, because I lived actually briefly. I lived in Miami for about a half a year. I was doing some stuff with some producers down there, so I was down in Sunny Isles for a little bit. I loved it down there.
Nice. Now, in the beginning, what bands or artists were you listening to that have inspired you musically?
Well, it's kind of like a mixed bag. Like it was mostly like R&B music. It was mostly like Justin Timberlake and Usher and Boys to Men and R. Kelly and
Yeah.
James Wine and guys like that. That was like mostly what I was listening to. And then Chris Brown when he started to come.
Hmm.
But there was also I would also listen to like Nirvana, and I would listen to Hootie and the Blowfish,
Nice.
and Red Hot Chili Peppers and stuff like that. So it was, my music isn't really like that, but there was some stuff I guess that I took from that too to bring it into kind of my style, even though it's more of an R&B pop flavor.
Hmm. Now, as a vocalist, do you do anything to maintain your vocals?
Of course, I practice every single day.
Hmm.
I don't miss a day. Sundays I sometimes take off just to kind of say, okay, I'm gonna recharge the battery and not even think about music for one day and just recharge it. But I practice every single day for at least an hour and a half a day, and it's usually around 2 hours. So I'm working with someone who's kind of like my vocal coach right now, and I work with him a couple days a week, and then the rest of the time, at this point, I know what I'm doing, so I can kind of take the reins and do it myself as well.
Yeah, because your voice is also your instrument, so yeah, you definitely need to maintain and keep it in top shape.
Exactly, exactly.
Now, I understand that your father is a very prominent attorney in New York, and when they first found that you wanted to pursue music, what were your parents' reaction?
Well, my dad really didn't even know that I sang that much. My mom knew because I would sing to like girls I would date when I was younger and stuff like that, and I would sing around my mom, and she would kind of know that I sang, and because I actually went to vocal lessons when I was like 12 or 13 years old, and my mom had sent me to this guy, and he was at that age I was a little rebellious, and he was more of a classical teacher, and I was just kind of not into it, so I kind of like I quit
Mm.
before I even really got started. So my mom like knew, but I think when I said it to my parents that this is what I want to do for my life, my dad and my brother were surprised. because they just were like, where did this come from? You know what I mean? But my mom, they were all very supportive, and they wanted to give me a chance to see, A, was I talented enough to do it, and B, would I put the work in to really make it happen?
Sure.
So they gave me a chance to do that, and for that, I'm so thankful, because if it wasn't for their blessing, I would have never been able to be the point that I am today.
Gotcha. Now, you did attend college to obtain your law degree, correct?
I did.
Were you able to finish school for that degree?
I did.
Oh, so you
Yes.
have, so you still have that in your back pocket, let's say if you needed it.
People always ask me that. They say, okay, you have a plan B, so to speak. I never look at it like that.
Exactly.
This is what I want to do. This is the only thing that I want to do. I think being a well-rounded human being, and when you have the opportunity to go to school, not everyone has the opportunity to do that. If you have the opportunity to do it, it's something that I was like, all right, I might have to look at my contracts at some point. I might have to deal with different things as my career goes on, and I want to be as prepared for any situation that I could possibly be in. Not just be able to go up there and sing and perform and make people happy like that, but also be able to handle myself off the stage and out of the studio and be as well-rounded of a person and intellectual as I could possibly be. So that was kind of my mindset behind it.
I think you definitely have a leg up in that situation, because you look at guys from, that started rock and roll, guys like Chuck Berry, Jerry Lee Lewis, all these guys, and their managers were screwing them out of royalties and money. And they didn't know till like 20 years later that, you know what? This has been happening this whole time, because they had no idea,
For sure.
But you, with a law degree behind you, you definitely have a leg up, and I think that's fantastic.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
Now, how did you first become involved with Rich Isaacson, the founder of Loud Records?
Well, actually, it's a funny story. My entertainment lawyer, whose name is Scott Belcher, he was about the only connection that I had in the music industry. This was about 5 or 6 years ago, and he was about the only connection I had in the music industry to anything. When I decided to do this, and I said, I went to him. He represents Bruno Mars, and at the time, I think he represented Rihanna and a few other people. So he's like, come in, let's meet. Never heard me sing. He's like, let's meet, sing something for me, and let's just see where you're at. And he's like, you have a lot of raw talent, but it's going to take a lot of work. He's like, I think I have a good guy that might be willing to give you a chance. And at that point, I was a very raw, talented person, but I wasn't where I am today. If I walked into a room today, I'd be a totally different person than I was 5 or 6 years ago. So, Rich gave me my first chance, and at that point, I think, he obviously, as I'm sure you know his history, used to run Loud Records for Universal with Steve Rifkin, and then he started his own management company. Yeah. So I think he was kind of figuring out what he wanted to do with certain artists and what direction he wanted to go in. And at that point, it was a really good fit, I think, for both of us. And he really got on me the first time I met him, which I kind of liked. He kind of challenged me. I was like, what the fuck do you think, excuse my language, why the fuck do you think you can do this? Yeah. You come in here and and then I just was like, listen, you're not going to intimidate me. Like, I'm from New York. This isn't, I'm not some small kid from a small town. Like, this is what I love to do, and I'm going to show you exactly why I can do it. And then at that point, he was like, all right. And we kind of started from there, and we've been together since.
Hey, you know what they say? Sometimes you got to get your face read once. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's perfect. Now, last summer, you wrote an original song titled "Stay All Night," which was released this Tuesday, and I listened to it for the first time on Tuesday and immediately fell in love with it. I mean, this is a song that any second now I hope to hear down here in Miami on Power 96.
Thank you.
Now, what did you think when Boy Wonder thought to do a reggaeton version of it and add the Latin sound of Papi Willo on it?
Well, at first I thought he was crazy, but I was like, I'm always open to different things. I have certain visions for my music, but other people might have a vision that might work. That I think, you always have to have an open mind to everything. And when he came to me and he kind of showed me the vision and said, "This is what I feel like it could be," and he kind of did like a skeleton track for me of what it could be, and I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. I was like, let's do this. And he's like, I have this artist who's an upcoming artist in overseas, and I think he'd be really great on the record. And I heard him spit a little something on the track, and I was like, this kid's really talented. And from that point, I was like, all right, I like working with talented people, and I'm especially at a similar place he's a little more, I guess, advanced at this point, but in his career as I am, and that's a fun thing for me to be able to come over and collab and do different kinds of music, because I love all different kinds of music, and I like reggaeton music, even before I started singing. So from that point, once I heard it, I was like, okay, let's go with it, because it could be dope.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, guys like Pitbull, where they're combining Spanish and English, into a song, and reggaeton is huge, especially here in Miami. I mean, my wife's Dominican, and I'm just this white boy, and that's all I'm
Right. So
hearing
am
in
I.
the house, and I love it. I mean, it's just
Yep.
it's got such flavor to it, man. It's amazing.
It's awesome. I agree.
Now, the name of your debut album is Bedtime Stories. Is there an official release date as of yet?
Well, actually, we're doing a song a week to finish the album. So Stay All Night's the first song off the album. And there are going to be certain songs that we shoot a video for. So we're kind of in the works with that, but I think it's going to probably release over the next 11 to 12 weeks.
Wonderful.
It's an EP, so there's 8 songs total on the EP. I'm actually working on a couple surprises, possible features for it and stuff like that. So we're still working on those things, but the songs are going to be released. I think the next song is going to be released not this coming week, but the week after that, because the Stay All Night video is going to be released next week.
Awesome. So I guess once the album is released, you'll have plans to tour soon.
That's the goal. That's what I hope. This album's taken me probably a year and a half to do. I guess EP, I guess you call it, but it's taken me about a year and a half to do and finish, and that's kind of taken up so much of my time. I'm actually still in the studio kind of tweaking some production stuff to one of the last songs on the track, on the album. So, yes, the tour is something that I can't wait to do, and that I'm hoping will come, I guess, soon.
All right, great. Well, I certainly hope you'll bring your tour to Miami.
I wouldn't miss it. I love coming out there. I still come out there sometimes. So that's going to be one of my first stops for sure.
Awesome. Justin, I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to talk with rockbandreviews.com today. I love your music. You have our full support. Whenever you need to get anything out into the world, you let us know, and we'll take good care of you, buddy.
Thanks so much. I really appreciate it. And once again, sorry for the mix-up yesterday. I appreciate you guys, being so understanding.
No worries. God bless and keep safe, buddy.
You too. Take care.
Bye-bye.